So, I imagine the stream will probably drop a lot of frames and be horribly unstable, in addition to looking like crap. But either way, I haven't streamed in a while, and I enjoy doing it. My hair is kind of crazy looking, but... so... I don't imagine anybody will show up. Oh, I was going to put this back in the fridge. That's very loud. Turn that down. So this is more or less implemented since last time. It's very, camera's very zoomed out here, annoyingly. Probably need to go in and get rid of that off the puzzle panel tile here. I need to change this to, let's just go something like that, see whether that works. Should change them. If those were smaller, I wouldn't mind, but they're really big. I guess it's probably just that says the size. Okay. Yeah, so those more or less work. The issue is there's really two issues. One is you'll notice that the low light doesn't low light the whole tile, it just low lights the individual square that you're hovering over. And the other thing is, for some mechanics, let me go ahead and change the way this panel's put together. Say I shape the tile like this, and then I put one of these on it. Oh, I need to show that. Say I put one of those there. See that? That shouldn't be solved really, but it is, because this here is expecting to have two, right? And even though it's one tile, the way it looks is it goes and it looks at its neighbors and says, okay, well, I've got a neighbor here that's separate, and so that's two. If I connect it there, well, the problem is it goes over here and still finds it. But if I connect it to be a solid thing, then it sees it as one. Don't get me started on where these guys are positioned and stuff like that. I need to be able to have some control over that, I think, that I don't have right now. Now in this case it works for some reason, but anyway, the whole problem there is just because of the way that I'm parsing out finding those things. So the first thing would be fixing that technical problem to where we don't have this thinking that it's solved. That shouldn't be happening. So now, of course, we could just make it a general rule that you don't ever do that. But there's also some other weird things that I noticed. I'm not sure what they were, but like in this case, it works, right? But then I move that over there. It doesn't work anymore. So it's very strange. So there's kind of two things I was thinking of about how to fix this problem. And one, are we actually live? We should be. Let me bring up the dashboard so I can at least keep an eye on those kind of things. Yeah, okay. It's live, it's live. Okay, it looks rough, but it's live. Pretty low bit rate, but it's fine. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, so there's two things I could do. Like, one of the things is what I do right now to fill in this area so that I'm not just toggling one part of it. Like, for example, let's say if I disconnected that and then reconnected it, right now, like, if I toggled just that one tile, it would look like that, right? So I have to do a search to fill the whole area to toggle that, which is kind of slow to do for every single click, but not a big deal because you don't toggle tiles more than like one a frame or something, right? So I don't really think it's that slow. Plus the game runs really quickly anyway. But if I'm doing something like every frame and your mouse goes over here and searching that, and that seems really wasteful at that point. So one of the things I was thinking of doing that might make sense is to pre-generate when the panel is first built, right? To generate numbers for tile groups. So for example, you just go through the panel and say, okay, we check this tile, and then we see that it's got a connection to the right, and so we march through all of those, and we set all of those to like 1 or something, right? So it gets stored as 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 on the panel, because they're all connected into the same block. So that means when I toggle that tile, it just toggles all the tiles on the panel that have a 1 set there, right? One of the side benefits of doing it that way, well, besides that you don't have to do the search every single time you click, you just toggle all the tiles on the panel that have the same number. But you could also have an override on numbers so that, like, if you click this here and that there, like, it would toggle both of them or something. You could do panels that worked that way. So I may choose to do that. As an option. Looks like I haven't dropped any frames, so that's good. Because I set the bitrate's super low. So I may want to do a march through that way, where I end up doing that, rather than actually marching through. Because the side benefit there is when I go like this, I can just go through the panel and find all the other tiles that have the same number and then change their thing to be low lit as well, rather than having to do that search. So essentially, because the panel doesn't change in that regard, the shape of the panels, tiles are always the same. The panel's not animating or anything like that. Not that I couldn't theoretically do that if I wanted to, but I think that that's a good way to do it. It's like an internal thing when the panel first gets generated to generate all these areas. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. So there's a couple things though. One is I tried to make the function defined area here. I tried to add the thing for connections, and I don't know whether it should be part of the same function. I think it maybe should be two separate functions where one will find connections and one will do it based on color. Well, that's hard because when I do it based on color, when I do it based on color, it needs to take into account the connections as well. So I really don't know. That might be worth doing that way. Because right now I'm just doing it here and saying use color. Is that true or not? And it's basically like, do we go to another tile or not? Really, it should probably be like, instead of use color, it should be like only connections, like only connected tiles. So that might be a good thing, but not sure. But I do know that I need to have an int array that's int. So it's going to be tile groups. Something like that. Tile groups. Tile group. Meta tiles. Maybe I'll call it meta tiles because I'm starting to think meta tiles is. I almost never do actual 2D arrays because they don't serialize. I don't know whether I need to serialize that or whether I should just generate it at startup, because I don't think it would take long to generate it. Okay, so let's go into initialize panel. So something over there on the other monitor was kind of blinking and distracting me. Okay, so I need to I don't know if I need any of this. We don't need these anymore. Well, I don't know. Probably should check that anyway. I'm not sure where I should do this, but I'll just do it here. We'll go mount. We want to generate meta tile group numbers. I don't know whether to call them meta tiles or not, but it seemed like a better thing than what I was doing before. Okay. So I guess I just would do this. Like I'm doing here, actually. But we'll just do it here separately for now. So when I was doing like toggle here. Just created a toggle tile list here. So I should have a list that I could potentially use. But I'm going to just make one since I'm only doing it here at the start. You know, I don't know whether it works. Yeah, it probably does because I'm passing it by reference. So that'll be an array list, meta tile list. This new array list. So first thing I want to do, well, it's nude, so I should need to clear it. But we're going to do this, find all in area, and that should put them into the list. That's the Q-based one. Let's see. Okay, so I need to... Yeah, okay. So that works fine. The way I'll do it is... Where's the freaking start? This thing's starting to get too big of a file for me to find stuff. Okay, so we're going to go through here. We're going to find all of these. That's going to be the meta tile list. I really don't need this, but let's throw away. So that'll go into the metal tiles list, and so then we go for each tile position, tile position, P in meta tile list. We're going to okay, I need to make that one array into a new thing. What does verify array size do anyway? I'll just make it new. This. So, yeah. That means meta tile number is equal to new int width times height. So then we're going to go meta tile number p.x times width plus width times p.y is equal to well, that's going to be I'll just go current meta tile number. So then we'll go like this int current meta tile number is equal to 0. So we'll go through here, and then we'll go current meta tile number plus plus. I think that works. So for each of these, first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if it's on the list. So I think that'll be meta tile list contains let's see, this equal to, I don't have an initializer for that, so this dot x equal to, excuse me, So that should work. If it contains this. This tile was, oops. This tile was already checked and added to a meta tile. So I think that will work. So we'll go in here, generate a tile position. See if it's on the list. The alternative is that I make a list out of all the tiles on the panel and iterate on that list. Could do that, because then I can just pull something off the list when I add it. But we're going to try that. Current meta tile number, plus plus. So we'll go through. If it's already on there, then we skip. Until we get to one that's not on there, we find all the tiles in that area. And then for each tile on that list, we set the meta tile number, the current meta tile number, and then we increase that after we go to the next tile. Okay, I think that will work. So we're going to try that. Okay, I guess this didn't work. So I need to do current tile, I guess. So let's see whether or not that works. The issue, though, this tile was already checked and added to a meta tile. This tile was already checked and added to a meta tile. So that happened a few times. So let's look under the default inspector stuff. He's rebuilding them every time it draws this, which is a little bit weird. But let's take a look at meta tile numbers. They are all 4, which is very strange. I find that very strange. That they would all be 4. Let's see, 0, 2. Should be that. Why are they all 4? That doesn't make any sense to me. Ah, because I'm not clearing the list. Shit. I don't really get how I can't. Yeah, that's the issue, is because they're still on the list. Well, I'm Another thing about that, I'm going to take a real quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I realized is I don't actually want to check this. I want to check to see whether we're going to say that we're going to start the metatile numbers at 1, and that way by default they'll be 0. And if I've set them to something besides 0, then we've already added it. So that should make it work. Well, that doesn't seem to be working either, so it's unfortunate. So there's some reason why the metatile number is not working here. See, the way I'm calling that should work, because it's the same way that I call it here. Oh, okay. Yeah, now the problem is that I should have cleared the list. Like this. Now that's the problem. There we go. Yay. So we got 1, 1, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 2, 5. Yeah, so that works. That means that I should be able to just toggle anything that has the same metatile number. Like when we go up here, rather than having to do this whole walkthrough of the panel. this will go for each. Shoot. Well, I guess I can't really do a for each, can I? I'll just go for. Yeah, for int. Wait. It'd be nice if I could just find the index, because the index is going to match. Let's see, get array index C#. Is that possible? Searches for the specified object. Like if I have an object, is there a way to get it without searching? Doesn't look like there is. I guess I could do an index variable and just increment it like this for, well, yeah. That would be for each int metatile number, current metatile number, in metatile numbers, should be metatile numbers. So, for this, we'll just do this. We'll go through the ints. We'll go int I. We'll go I++. We'll go if current metatile number is equal to metatile number. Okay. We'll go to testing. Test metatile number is equal to metatile numbers plus that. Current metatile number is equal to test metatile number. Then we will toggle that one. See whether that works. It's got some assumptions baked into it, but I think it'll work. Array index is out of range. Test metatile number does not exist. Oh yeah. Oh, I guess I gotta set this to 0. Object reference not set to instance of an object. I think it was just because I hadn't generated them. Just gonna text. That maybe drops frames. It may have killed the stream actually. sorry about that. That kind of killed the stream. I got a text message. This seems to be following this code path now. Either I'm just doing something stupid, or okay, so that was 2. That's 5, that's 4, that's 1, that's 3. Okay, so the issue also should be, I want them all to be 0 if they are not connected, so that I don't waste any time doing a search. No, I can't do that though. Shoot. I guess I can make them be negative. -1. So if I set it to 0, then I'll check it again. I don't want to do that. So let's go if length that seems like it'll work. Oh, hey Zaphod. I hope the stream actually is working now, because it was kind of being weird for a minute. Because I'm streaming through my phone, if I get a text message, it kills the stream, which is pretty weird, but because you wouldn't think that would use any data, but I think it has to switch over to a different type of data or something. Anyway. Alright, so I think, let's see whether that works. I knew it wasn't length. Let's look up array lists length, not know what it is. Size, that's in Java. Count, I think it's count. Count. So we'll see whether it counts 1 or whether it's oh. Hold on. Yeah. Let me try making sure the audio. Oops, sorry about that. Is good. I haven't had anybody on the stream so far listening, so is that any better? Hopefully that's better. I turned a compressor on. Apparently I had the compressor off for some reason. Again, sorry about the squeakiness there. Anyway, so maybe the at some point I gotta go upload an archive of this stuff, but yeah, I don't know whether that's audible at all. Some of these are not gonna be audible, but yeah. Okay, so let me check to see whether that worked. That should be size, right? No, it was count. It was count, wasn't it? Yes, it was count. I already changed it, I just forgot. I don't know if you left already. I probably won't stream much longer just because, okay, because it uses a lot of my internet. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so now those do get set up with -1s. But you'll see it toggles those. But the idea being, if I set up to have -1s, it means they're not connected, and if they got anything else, then they are. And that means that I can check here if it is -1, and if it is, then I can just skip it. Like here. So I go state set, test metatile number, so we're going to go if test metatile number. Dang it. This is really annoying. Test metatile number equals -1. Oops. Then we're going to go current state plus is equal to state set. Yeah. Else tile, let's see. Tile is part of a meta tile, so we toggle the rest of it. Why is there a... I don't know why that's the case. Tile is not part of a meta tile, so we just toggle the current tile. Okay, I think that works. those get toggled, and those work properly. And that should be 1, that should be a -1, that should be 2, and that should be 3. Why is it 5? Shouldn't it be 3? I wonder why it ended up being 5. Okay. So I don't think it works perfectly well, because for some reason it set it to 5 when it built the meta tiles. Oh, it's because when I set it to -1, I don't go continue. That should happen. Okay, so now it's 3. So now that one's 3, that one's 2, that one's 1. Okay. And let's just do some other kinds of nonsense just to see whether or not other weird stuff works properly. So that should be meta tile 1. Oh, that's fine because I'm standing on it. I don't know whether a 4 each in this case is faster or slower than just iterating over the panel. You know, because I did a 4 each from a meta tile number in meta tile numbers, and I checked that number and then I set it to I and increased there. On the plus side, I'm not doing any multiplication, but on the downside, yeah. Let's see, player mouse tile is moused on. Okay, so I guess I would do the same thing here for the low light, basically. When I draw the thing, we go down here and see. If it's moused on, we go like this. So it's if is solved, else it's white. Okay, so let's do this number. So we want to test the meta tile number. So that's going to be int test meta tile number equals meta tile numbers current tile index. It's -1. We do basically what we used to do. I have no idea what this is going to do because I feel like I have no idea. Else we go through and do this, and then we need to do this. Now really this needs to be, we can do this a little bit more simply. Let's see, color. Cover color is equal to highlight color. If not solved, cover color is equal to color.white. So then we just go like this. Cover color. So then here we go. So lit tile. Would it be lit tiles? Lit squares? Or do we do tiles? I think we just do lit tiles. Lit squares. Maybe it's lit squares. Lit squares. I dot set outline color. Color color. Might be it. I have no idea. Okay, it's a game object, so I need to do get component. I could probably do tiles. I dot set outline color. So I think tile actually stores a reference to the tile. Well, that's doing something, but it's not working. It's pretty weird. I think the issue is probably something to do with I, isn't it? We'll probably need to do something besides I. Index. Could just be something to do with the reasons that that's not actually working. Let's see. It's all a bit janky the way this stuff is put together. And frankly, I don't know whether it's going to produce good puzzles or anything, but it's something that I've wanted to test for a while, so I need to test it. I think the issue is this for each, but it doesn't really make sense because I feel like it should work because it worked earlier. Like when I click to toggle, it works there. So I don't really know why it doesn't work. Oh, actually I do know why. Shoot. Damn it. It works because the way I march through the panel and update each tile's color, that's why you see it work here better than like here. Because it's going through the panel. It's going up this way, and then up this way, and then up this way. So the last tile that actually gets set, it goes to the next tile and then changes it back to being highlit. I gotta get another soda. So, means I'm probably going to have to store a grid of tiles that are lit and do it that way. Shoot. It's kind of annoying, but I can't think of any other way to do it. So if I set it to the hover color, can't think of anything else to do because I can't check to see if it's set to the hover color because it just won't work, because then it will never dissipate, and I need it to dissipate if you're not hovered over it, but I can't have it work this way. So like this tile, all these tiles need to get set to hovered basically when I do like this, and then when the next frame comes by, then it gets cleared. So yep, I'm gonna have to just do that as another bool array. So it's gonna be hovered tiles. Yeah, something like that. So the question is whether I do it with this mouse on thing. I think I would. I think I would do it with the mouse on thing. I just don't know whether this toggle thing is necessary then in the same way, because you might just want to toggle the things that are hovered. It almost seems like that makes sense there, but I'm going to put it in initialize panel and just make it as a new array because it just seems easier to me. Hopefully I'm audible. I don't know. I never got any word back on that. But the audio for the start of the video is probably pretty bad. Of course, I can post-process it if I'm going to upload it later. Which I need to do. I've got like 3 other streams that I never uploaded, but okay. Draw. There we go. So let's to start with, let's go down here. I'm going to do this. I know this. Player mouse tile.x, player mouse tile.y. So I get set up in mouse over. But I might not need that. I might just do it in mouse on. Do this number. I don't know if I can do that. Let's try it. So I got x and y. So we're going to go plus is equal to x plus width times y. We're going to go copy all this. Test meta tile number, that's correct, it's -1. Cover tiles plus is equal to true. Part of the meta tile, we go through and do all that, and then we go cover tiles I is equal to true. So that should work. And then hover tiles needs to get cleared at some point. Like that. Say, yeah, if the one we go over is not there, we clear the whole thing, and then we set everything that's there. So then when we go down here, I should be able to, in the part where we draw the panel, not do any of this shit. And just go it's not locked, and we're hovered over this tile. We check that, we check that, and then we do that. I think that'll work for color. So hover tiles should get initialized every frame. Not every frame, but let's see if I can see hover tiles. I wonder why that's doing that. That will work best. So I think the issue is that that's not necessarily getting set every frame when the mouse is over it. Okay, so that's right. We want to clear that every time. Okay, so that seems to work right now. Okay, well that's, let's say I'm done on that respect. Respect of handling hovering. I don't have anything in the editor over here to like link those tiles up. Like theoretically they should get linked up in all my editing stuff so that I don't end up, you know, like if I'm requiring that tile be on or something, it should also go ahead and require all of these, right? Because they're all the same tile, but so that I can't do something like this where the panel is literally unsolvable because it's checking multiple grid squares per object, but which would just be a matter of writing that into the editor so that if I toggle one of these, then I chase through the connections and do that, or just drawing the thing over here.
which is an alternative as well.
Yeah, one thing I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do or not was whether I wanted to have an optional component so that if you wanted to leave that as a circle, for instance, like if I do like this, then you see it still leaves it in the middle there, right, open. But if I condense it down here, it doesn't leave it open. I'm just not really sure how I would do that. Other than have an extra row, like an extra column. It's probably hard to see on the stream. Let me move that over here so that we can also see that, because it's kind of behind my head. But other than have like an extra checkbox here that determines whether or not you want to have that closed, right? That's the only thing I can think of. Anyway, so let's exit and rerun it again and just make sure that it works on a fresh run. Okay, so that seems to work. So that's that functionality, and then these all still work the same way. Now it almost feels weird that there aren't more panels like this in the game, you know? That they're all just squares. But we'll see, because I haven't designed anything. So there's still a few things. Obviously I gotta fix these guys because they're broken since I changed the way those work. I'm actually not sure what's wrong with them, but there's something broken about them. I think that it's because the old tile had something else with it, but I'm not entirely sure why they're the way they are, so I'll have to look into that. The other thing is the mechanics still don't work on these kind of things. So for instance, which I showed earlier, if I set up like a 2 guy here, you expect that to work, right? You expect that to work because that's 1 tile and then 2 tiles. You'd also expect this to work, and for some reason it doesn't work. And we can see here that it thinks that there's 3. It thinks that that's 3. And it's because there's a gap here where it looks and sees this one, and then there's also a gap here where it looks and sees that one. That just requires me to bake in the meta tile number thing into what I'm using to test this stuff. But anyway, I've been streaming for about an hour and 15 minutes, which is not a long stream, but I didn't want to stream super long today anyway. And we did finish 1 task, so that's kind of cool. It's not perfect. I may want to, instead of having a toggle thing for X and Y, I may want to go based on what tiles are hovered, and then toggle based on the hovered tiles, but I don't really know that it makes a huge difference, because we're looking either for things that are the same meta tile, or we're setting that up, right? It's basically the same. It's just later it makes it easier because we're just iterating through tiles, and we can just check to see which tiles are hovered over so that we can get that highlight. But it looks good now. Now we don't have any of that weirdness where we're just highlighting individual tiles. it's bad that that doesn't work. It's a bug, so I gotta fix that. But I don't think I'm gonna do that on the stream. I'll probably continue working off stream and do that. Well, stream went pretty well. I only dropped a few frames. The stream did go down earlier, but that was unavoidable, basically. So yeah, I shouldn't need to do this anymore because we're using those metatile lists. We just need to do something later when we do the searches. Rather than using this is connected thing here, we'll check the metatiles so that, anyway, that's fine. We'll just have to do something different there. Just not sure exactly how it's going to work. Could just make a function that's like metatile area, metatile finder or something like that, that goes through and finds the metatiles, so that it's a separate thing. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Anyway, thanks for joining. Like I said, I have a few archive things that I need to upload, but I'd have to go out into town and upload them because I don't want to waste what little bandwidth I have on like re-uploading a stream that I've already done. Oh, and we didn't listen to any music today. That's a little weird. On the plus side, that means that I can fix the audio pretty easily. All right. Anyway, I'll see y'all around. Have a good one.